care and for their peace. And it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Council, need a motion on the work session minutes for the 16th of August.
Mr. President, move for adoption.
Have a motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
5 with 2 and 9 abstaining.
That's right. Okay. All right, need a motion on the regular council minutes for the 16th of August.
Mr. President, move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
8 with 2 abstaining.
Okay. All right, Mr. Mayor, you're up.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Get right to this. Mayor's message is going to be short and to the point. We'll start with the executive summary. If not, we can start with community hero, if that's easier. Okay. So, the following slides are going to reflect how a few of our revenue streams have been trending to the city as of August 31st, 2022. Sales and use tax continue to show a positive growth rate. Revenue from sales and use tax increased in August more than 8% above the same period in fiscal year 2021. Overall sales and use tax revenues are up nearly 7% year over year. And again, that's more positive trend lines for what we're seeing across this year financially. Second slide, please. Take a look at lodging tax revenue. It continues to increase at double digits compared to the same period in fiscal year 2021. The revenue collection in the current year compared to August 2021 has a growth rate of more than 21%. As of August 2022, lodging tax revenue has a positive growth rate of nearly 37% year over year. This is primarily due to more events being held in person in the city rather than virtually as many of them were the previous year. So again, great trend numbers for our lodging tax revenues we can see throughout this fiscal year. Next slide, please. The gasoline tax revenue growth rate declined somewhat in August by nearly 7% over the previous year. Although we have seen the revenue bouncing all over the map this year, gasoline tax revenue still has a positive growth rate of nearly 3% year over year. Next slide. The alcoholic beverage tax revenue had a significant negative growth rate in August compared to the previous year. There was a decline of more than 39% or $159,000 for the month. When we look at this year over year, the decline in growth over this revenue stream has a deficit of 3%. And the decline in the alcoholic beverage revenue in August is likely due to summer vacations starting to come to an end as schools started back for most people the first part of August, used by the second week. We're hopeful that September's numbers will see this revenue stream break even by the end of the fiscal year. Finally, as the fiscal year is coming to a close at the end of this month, the Finance Department will be entering the 13th accounting period to close out the city's books for the current year. Consequently, I will not be providing usual financial statement while this closeout process is in place at the next meeting. Lastly, the city continues to be in great financial position, and so we are grateful to have that opportunity before us with the budget that we have and what trends we've been seeing all year. So that will conclude just the financial overview. And now we'll get to highlight some of our community partners. We're going to start with our community heroes who have been doing great things, and Kristen Dowling is one of those. She is the CEO of Colors River Region, a nonprofit dedicated to bringing much needed repertoire of resources for the broader community of the LGBTQ+ youth in the River Region. When we look at what she has done, her impact cannot be measured on reaching out to those who may not feel they know where to go and who to talk to. We also want to recognize Steve Murray, Director of Alabama Department of Archives and History. All right, come on up. At this time, we'll present, I don't think Steve is here, but at this time, our publisher from the Advertiser will come up and just share a few more words about these community heroes.
If you don't know her, let me introduce you to Kristen Dowling. So Kristen lives her life with a purpose. She wants to prevent other members of the LGBTQ+ community from having to experience the same struggles she did. Growing up in South Carolina in the 90s, she felt no sense of community, no sense of belonging, and that's what she was looking for when she joined the United States Air Force, and that's what she spent years trying to develop here in Montgomery. Since 2021, Kristen has served as the Chief Executive Officer of Colors River Region, an extraordinary group where she mentors 12 kids and encourages them to take up space, advocating for themselves, and to be unapologetic in their identities. While she finds that identifying under labels like transgender and bisexual are important to finding the LGBTQ+ community, what's more important is actually growing within that community. So tonight, for her dedication to our youth, we have named her the Montgomery Advertiser's Community Hero for June, an honor sponsored by South University. Kristen?
Take a picture, okay. Thank you. Sit on the floor. Okay.
All right, we'll quickly tick these off. These next items, again, we want to thank our community heroes for the work that they do in the city. And we want to certainly highlight one of the headlines that we garnered very recently, and that is that the city was named one of the best cities for Black-owned businesses in the country. I think this is significant for us. When you look at nerdwild.com and others who drill down in some of the information, for Montgomery to be in this list is significant because it shows some of the growth and progress that we're making as a community. It's not enough for us to rest, but it is something that I think shows that we're in a positive trend for businesses, and what this council has done with minority participation program, I think is significant. I think what the county has done in that initiative is significant, and what the broader community, the private sector itself has done, financial institutions, is significant as well. And what we realize is that when more people have an opportunity, there's more growth and there's more money to be made by everybody. And what we see is more companies that are able to compete, not only here locally, but throughout the state and throughout the region, and they're able to put people to work who are looking for jobs and who are looking for careers. And so one of the things that NerdWallet pointed out is that 28.5% of businesses in Montgomery owned by African Americans leads other cities of our size. Also, the high percentage of Black-owned businesses relative to the unemployment rate and low cost of living make Montgomery a premier destination for entrepreneurs. That is something that we can leverage. That's something that we want to share. Not just here, we don't want this to be a secret. We want to let people know that the city of Montgomery is open for business, and we're open for business for everyone who has an idea and wants to try to get that to implementation. So again, kudos to everyone who's been involved, but most importantly, kudos to those entrepreneurs and those small businesses who are out there every day really bringing forth opportunities right here in our city. And one thing that I share, and you all get a lot more calls than I do from nonprofits, is that really in this city, we're looking for more for-profit businesses. We've got a lot of nonprofits that expect city and county government to carry them. That can't happen. Nonprofits aren't set up like that. I'm on enough boards to understand that. But we do need more for-profit businesses, and we do need more entrepreneurs. And so this is something for us to share with them, that there are ways to create a profit and to start and grow that business right here in Montgomery. You don't have to be in a larger city. You don't have to go somewhere else to do that. And I think this is proof positive of some of the work that we're doing. So we'll move on to the next topic very quickly, and then I'll be able to take my seat. We want to highlight the new city website. We're refreshing the design and user experience. We've gotten, even during the transition of my coming into office, one of the big complaints was that the website was not functional. You all probably hear that as well. And so we're trying to improve that website to make it easier for people to utilize and to find the information that they're looking for in a way that is user-friendly. So we're trying to make sure that we improve the service and that we improve, again, the dissemination of information that people are looking for. And so the refreshed website will go live this week. So as you all have any thoughts or feedback, or you hear those from residents, don't hesitate to let us know where we can improve, or there's a page that's not there, if there's some information that's incorrect, please let us know that as well. Next topic. Okay, so I will just conclude with two things. One, I want to thank everybody from the city for participating this past weekend, for really coming out for HBCU Classic Weekend. It was a great weekend of events. Many of you all were able to take part in those events. We're really glad that the city was able to put on a great event. The corporate sponsors were very, very excited, Boeing in particular. We had just tremendous conversations with them about not only how to partner with us around the events that took place, but how to partner with some of our organizations here, some of our schools, some of our nonprofits, but also economic development. I made sure to tell them that we know Boeing has a presence in Huntsville, but we want them to have a presence in Montgomery. And with the state government partnered with Maxwell Gunner, aligned with our HBCUs in the city, as well as our other colleges and universities in Tuskegee, we believe that we have the workforce and the intellectual capital to really help them grow throughout Alabama. And that was a message that they received very well, and they want to have more conversations as they bring their senior leadership team back to Montgomery during the legislative session. So we look forward to using events like that to highlight our city, to highlight the people, to highlight the talent, and to highlight the type of quality of place that we know that we have here in our community. And it gives us an opportunity to really market and brand the city, as we saw the chamber doing with their commercials, Experience Montgomery, which were well received and I think well done. And it allows us to have conversations about how to grow corporate presence here. And believe it or not, there were a couple of companies that were not sponsors who reached out to talk about how they could be involved in this entire weekend. And I think that really is because of how the entire city responded, coming out to the events, the concerts that we had, the vendors, and supporting them. But also I want to highlight how the city employees responded and setting things up. Our first responders, Montgomery Police Department, Montgomery Fire and Rescue, Parks and Recreation, street maintenance, sanitation, and certainly cultural affairs, as well as others, played a prominent role in everything that we saw here over this weekend. And so I just want to say kudos and thank you to everybody who participated and helped make this happen. And we look forward to doing more of this. And I'll say this as a little teaser. Some of y'all like her pies, but the folks from Patti LaBelle want to come to Montgomery now. And even some of our great contacts in Nashville with country music artists are interested in this city and what we can do. And so again, as we create this place and we create the culture, that we want to see in Montgomery to be a place that we can live, work, and play. Regionally, we'll see more events and opportunities like this. And it'll be, I think, a great opportunity for us to continue to showcase the city and showcase our businesses and those who really make this community what it is. So with that said, Mr. President, I thank you for the opportunity. Thank everybody for the support.
Thank you for a good report, Mayor. Okay, we'll go right in the agenda.
Mr. President, item 1, hearing on proposed ordinance rezoning property containing 2 acres located on the northwest corner of Virginia Loop Road.
We have Melissa Ballard here to speak on this item. Ms. Ballard, Broadway Group. Oh, hey, over here, please. Tommy, you want to talk? Sure.
The Planning Commission recommended the rezoning of this property. It was by a vote of 8 to 1.
Okay. Council, Ms. Ballard, your name?
Melissa Ballard.
All right, Ms. Ballard. Anyone got a question, Ms. Ballard? Am I okay? Huh? What are you going to use this property for?
It's a retail store, single-tenant retail store.
Okay, all right. All right, anybody got
Motion.
questions?
No, sir.
I need motions to adopt.
Motion to adopt?
Did you call for a public hearing?
I'm sorry, I did not. Only had one person sign this to talk about it. This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, I declare the public hearing has been held. It's properly before the council. I have a motion. Heard, Ms. Okay. All right. Need a motion?
Motion to adopt?
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Ordinance is adopted.
Good luck with business, Ms. Ballard.
Thank you so much.
Item 2, hearing on proposed ordinance rezoning one parcel located on the north side of Atlanta Highway, east of Ohio Pharaoh Road, from an Ag 1 district to an M1Q district.
Tommy?
Mr. President, the Planning Commission recommended this rezoning for
Okay.
by a vote of 8 to 1. And the property owner is here, Mr. Brian Cowan, and would like to speak on it. Excuse me, it was 990.
Okay. Is this is the property owner here?
Yes.
Okay. Please come forward. Yes, sir. Your name for the record?
Brian Cowan.
Okay, Ms. Cowan. This is a public hearing, and I would like to speak against this item. Please come forward. Seeing none, the public hearing's been held. It's proper for the council. Need a motion?
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Ordinance is adopted.
Good luck with your business.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Item 3, hearing on proposed ordinance amending fiscal year 2022 budget and adopting fiscal 2023 budget for the city of Montgomery.
This is a public hearing on our budget. Anyone like to come forward and speak on the budget? You're welcome to at this time. Be a 3-minute limit. Seeing none, the public hearing's been held. It's proper for the council. Now we'll take, this will be carried over to the September 13th special call meeting at 3 p.m. in these chambers for the council work session on the budget. So we'll reconvene on the 13th for that meeting. Next item?
Item 5, ordinance amending Chapter 13, Section 13-8 of the Code of Ordinances, fireworks.
I've been asked to carry that over to the next meeting. Anyone have objection to that?
No, sir.
Okay, we'll carry it over.
Item 6, ordinance amending the license tax classification, Section 16-74 of the Code of Ordinances.
Council, got any questions on this item? Need a motion to suspend the rules?
Mr. President, move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Mr. Lyons, did you?
Need a motion-
Unanimous.
Need a motion to adopt?
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Ms. Graham?
Ms. Graham, you voting?
Unanimous. Ordinance
right.
is adopted.
All right, number 7.
Resolution authorizing agreement with ALDOT for the installation, operation, and maintenance of RGB Bridge Lighting System on
These are the lights we
I-65
talked about earlier.
underpasses.
Okay, need a motion to suspend the rules?
Mr. President, motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt, please.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. 8, resolution authorizing Mayor Reed to make application to ADECA for recreational trails program.
Need a motion to suspend the rules?
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Number 9 has been withdrawn.
Yes, sir. Number 10, application for rental hall event center, doing business as Baldwin Event Center and more at 224 West Fred D. Gray Avenue.
Ms. Baldwin's here. Chiquita Baldwin, come forward, please. Your name for the record, please.
Chiquita Baldwin.
Okay, Chiquita.
Yes, Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Baldwin, we spoke several times on the phone. I drove by. There were a few questions during a working session about parking. So, can you describe your plan on what type of events will be held here, and also how you would accommodate parking?
Okay, children birthday parties, adult
Okay.
birthday parties, receptions, weddings, business meetings and everything. Actually, across the street, the building, I purchased my buildings from him, so I use that parking, up and down the side of the back, which is the one-way behind the buildings. And then the empty paved lot that I got the rocks, I own that as well.
Okay.
So it'll be parking over there. And also I own the car wash. So it's,
Yes, ma'am.
I basically own the whole block.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
I do. Your bar's still there, right?
The Jamaican restaurant?
It's still there, right?
Yes, Jamaican restaurant.
So you got the one side where you have a little shop right now. That's the side you're gonna make an event center, like on the left of it. If I'm facing the building to the left of the restaurant, that's the one side that you want to make an event center, right?
Yeah, both sides, because the building are.
So the Jamaican restaurant gonna be in the middle.
Yes,
And so you're gonna have two separate event centers.
yes.
What's the capacity on them?
I'm not sure yet because I'm in the process. The fire marshal hasn't got back with me yet. So I gotta, do a couple of things for them to give me my capacity and everything.
Any more questions? Need a motion on to suspend the rules on item number 10.
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution
Good
is
luck with your
adopted.
Okay, number 11.
Application for rental hall at
You're
Baldwin
good to go,
Event
Ms.
Center
Baldwin.
at 232 West Fred D. Gray Avenue.
Same thing. You suspend the rules on this one too?
Yeah.
Same thing.
Motion,
Hang on.
we got to do a public hearing?
No,
for
sir.
No, we don't have
11?
public
Okay, okay. Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Thank y'all very
Good luck
much.
with your
Yes,
business.
ma'am.
Item 12, application for rental hall event center, doing business as Rich Life Event Center at 112 Mendel Parkway.
Is there a representative of the Rich Life Event Center here, please? Mr. Jackson? Mr. Jackson, Travis Jackson. Okay, I was gonna carry this over anyway, but ladies, apparently y'all have some information for me. Might make my decision a lot easier.
We did have some information.
You do?
The taxpayer,
Get the microphone so I can hear you. Okay,
can
okay.
you hear me?
I got you now.
Okay. This taxpayer was operating his business prior to securing this license. He's admitted it to one of our examiners. I think he had 3 events, he said, prior to being licensed. So if he is approved for the license, we would like to attach a $500 citation to his account,
Gladly do that, if he's approved.
if he is approved.
Okay? Any other good information on this outstanding citizen? That's
No
about
other
it?
information.
Huh?
No other information on our
Okay,
part.
thank you so much. Thank you so much. Council, I really don't know anything about this. This area's been trashed. These event centers are trashing that particular area, and I've got a real problem with it, so I need to talk to this man before we go any further. So I'll hold it over till I talk to him, because that area is really making a mess of that neighborhood, so. We'll carry it over, okay?
Mr. President, Mr. Cowart wanted to speak on his item and request the removal of the queue on his rezoning. It was item number 2.
Okay,
So the council will have to make a motion to reconsider it and then hear him,
do that.
which would undo the vote.
I thought we said one time before we couldn't change it here. Once they
Yeah.
send it up a certain way, we have to vote on it that way. We can't change it.
Yes, ma'am, you can.
You can change it.
If
You
you
can change
don't make a significant change to it, like
This thing's out, this is kind of
if there's a significant change, then it has to be
I need a motion to
re-advertised.
reconsider.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
make a motion to reconsider item number 2.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Mr. Lyons, unanimous.
Okay.
Mr. Pruitt, did you vote yes for that one? Yes. Unanimous? Okay, so it's back before the council.
Okay, please come up and tell us why you want to change it. And Tommy, can you help us explain this to me? This property is in a, all right, who's going to talk?
The planning commission.
Tommy, pull the microphone around.
Excuse me. The planning commission put a queue on this property that basically makes him not able to use the property for M1 purposes other than a laydown yard. And there are a lot of other uses that M1 provides for.
Store material.
A laydown yard is a place to assemble product for distribution, like pipes for gas lines and sewer lines, and is that what we're talking about?
Yes, sir.
Wood for railroads, crossings?
He uses it primarily for wood products, but I'll let Mr. Cowan speak to that.
Tell us what you got, Mr. Kerr.
So, and I apologize, I thought that's what we approved a while ago to get it to M1, and that's the initiative here, but, you know, I was brought to my attention that, you know, the property, you know, was in the zoning and need to get it up to current use, and the current use is a laydown yard, but what I was requesting is M1.
And what would you use it for with M1?
Well, at this time, it's going to continue to be a laydown yard, but in the future, that way, you know, I'm going to have to come with a plan, a development plan anyway, that would have to be approved, but this way it would already be in M1 zoning, but I have no intentions of,
So what's the queue?
The queue restricts it to a laydown yard only.
Oh, wow.
And so,
That's a big piece of property, isn't it? How many acres is it?
property, and
How many?
50
50
it's
acres.
50 acres, but the Montgomery PJ, I bought it in 2006, but somewhere along the way, the PJ incorporated.
Changed.
Correct, and it splits my property, so it's only a portion that's in the Montgomery PJ, and the other portion, which is more than half, is in the county.
I'm familiar with your piece of property. I've seen it lay down in
Yeah,
there.
so I've had a county business license there since 2006.
Okay.
And they've kind of.
I think we need to do that.
I got no problem with it. I mean, what you got? Go
Yeah,
ahead.
Mr. President, I just have one question. So, when you saw the agenda, Tommy, when it was coming to us from the planning commission, it specifically states restricted to a lay-down equipment yard when I read it. So, are you appealing this? Because, I mean, at this place, it's old business. So it needs to, if I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong, Brendan, but this needs to go back to the planning commission so they can correct this, or does he need a variance?
Mr. President,
Hold. Brenda's going to answer the question.
You've technically got both before you. He requested M1. Planning Commission recommended. Yes, he could have appealed it in writing to me, and it would have come forward with both of them before you for the council to choose which to use. Is that correct? Do you see anything?
That's correct. He wasn't aware of it. He didn't know what they were restricting him to when he had the planning commission hearing, and basically he went along with it because he thought he was getting what he wanted, but they've restricted him out of use of future development, you have to go through the whole process again to lift that queue.
Tommy, why did they put a queue on it to begin with? Because Q has actually saved this council a time or two from putting qualifications on it, whether it be a gas station or whatever.
Well,
And I know,
I can't speak to what the motivation was for the planning commission, but all I can tell you is if he wanted to put the property up for sale, he'd have to go through this process in order to get a industrial user. If he wanted to develop it for warehouses, anything besides a laydown yard would require a complete redo.
I get that part, but a queue was put on it specifically for a reason. They just don't throw out queues.
Robert,
That's the only thing I'm saying.
let Robert Smith talk to us. Robert, you may know more about it.
I'll do it. Is it Ed's district?
Robert, tell us what's going on, what you know.
Yes, sir. So the reason for the queue, and I can speak to that one, was because Mr. Coward, he has been operating a laydown yard at that location for a number of years, and they were okay with it being maintained as a laydown yard, and so that's why they put the queue on there. But anything, a lot of the available uses under the M1 are heavy industrial, well, light industrial. And there are residences that live on both sides of his laydown yard. So they didn't want anything heavier than what they were already used to at that particular location. So that's the reason for the queue being on there. So
it makes sense.
How many residents? Complaints from the neighbors? I hadn't heard anything from the neighbors. There's only neighbors on one side in the county.
No,
it's a neighborhood.
Yeah, in the county, but in the city. So you got the city on one side and the county on the other.
City.
Yeah. So if so if you were to bring up a map of his location, and we put it up there on the screen, you would see you'd see houses on both sides.
So this property is split in Montgomery, PJ, and then into the county. So part of it's in the county anyway.
Correct.
Part of it's in the PJ because of our annexation of the plant out there.
Yeah. So we recommended the queue so as to not so nothing would be there that would be obnoxious to the people that are living close by. That was the reason for the queue.
Did they complain? Did any of the neighbors complain at planning?
No, nobody complained, but the planning commission did approve it based on that condition. And I would think that if anything changed, that it would need to go back to the planning commission for reconsideration. That would be my request.
Okay.
And that was the only reason that I agreed to allow it to go forward with the queue on it. And I comment on all of the rezoning requests.
Okay. All right. I have a feeling if anybody want to change this, I have a motion to change this to queue, to take the queue off. Nobody wants to do that? I have no motion for that, so it dies for what it is today. It stays like it is. Okay? Sorry. Okay. Back to the business at hand here.
Okay, are you saying it stays as an Ag 1 or it stays as an
It stays as what we voted. We voted Q.
We approved it as M1Q.
Well, see, you undid the vote. That's what I'm asking. When you make a motion to reconsider, you undo the vote, so you're going to have to make a motion and vote again. Sorry.
Okay.
Mr. President,
Yeah. Go ahead.
make the motion, I guess you're calling for the vote. I reconsidered, and it failed, so I'm just calling for the vote on the M1Q.
Motion to adopt
Yep.
as presented.
All right. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Okay.
Item 13, application for Rental Hall Event Center doing business as the B Luxury Event Studio at 7920 Atlanta Highway.
All right, we have a representative here of the B Luxury Event Studio. Yes, sir. Come forward, please.
It's you, Brandon.
Your name for the record, sir?
Kenyatta Bowler.
Okay, yeah. All right. Council, you got any questions on this item?
I do. This one gonna be in Forest Hills?
It's on Atlanta Highway, right next to Arrowhead, that area.
Next to Arrowhead?
Yes, like right across from the Arrowhead area down Atlanta Highway.
Which shop, is it in a shopping center?
Yes, sir. I think it's the next, if you know, it's a big building like the next, and I forgot the name of the other.
Right close
place.
to Publix?
Yes, it's right down the street from Publix.
That's-
If you pass Martha, it's the next shopping center on your right, the same side.
Is it Tang's in there?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
The little, the,
Oh, Martha's.
the
seamstress.
The
It's not
seamstress.
it's not the same shopping center, it's right down, but it would, if you know it's a big building looking good in the next, and it's a guy that owned that whole, from my understanding, the
got you.
whole shopping center.
Right, no,
Archie.
Archie, yeah, that's him.
Yeah,
it's looking good stuff. Made it look good.
we're right in front of those houses. So, yeah, I guess. So what's your hours? What are you planning on doing?
Okay, it's a luxury event center. We plan on doing baby showers, birthday parties, events of that nature.
What hours?
I would say it can be during the day and at night to like 10 or something like that.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
any other questions?
I don't.
Need a motion to suspend the rules.
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Need a motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Good luck with your business, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Item 14, resolution reappointing Julie Beard to the Housing Authority.
Mr. Lyons? Need a motion to suspend the rules.
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Need a motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. Item 15, resolution reappointing Melissa Bailey to the Montgomery Historic Preservation Commission.
Ms. Johnson?
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Let me suspend the rules for the rest of the agenda.
Unanimous.
All right, 16, I need a motion. I need a motion to suspend the rules and the rest of the agenda.
Motion to suspend the rules to,
Can I
for-
read it first?
Yep. I was ready to go,
I need
brother.
to read it first.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
Resolution assessing the cost of abatement of unsafe structures on various lots.
All right, now I got a motion to suspend the rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Who made the motion?
I did.
You
Ms.
did.
Johnson.
Okay.
Okay. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Okay, now, I need a motion to adopt item 16.
17, okay, yes. Motion to adopt.
You need to ask on this one if there's anybody present.
I have nobody that signed up on this one.
Where's the agenda?
Anybody want to speak on item 16? Seeing none, go ahead. Got a motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
This is assessing.
Unanimous.
All right.
Item 17, pursuant to Section 1153B1 Code of Alabama, authorization of demolition of unsafe structures at the listed locations.
You got to tear them down. I need a motion to adopt this.
Tear down.
Mayor, this reminds me, Mayor, of the blighted property. I understand, Mayor. Anna, you're here. You and the mayor went to Washington to look for the money, and that $4 million for the blighted property that we're getting. What's the timetable, Mayor? When
that-
y'all,
Yeah, that has to be approved by Congress, and I believe it will be approved for the October 1 fiscal year. So we should get that money after, starting next month, and I can check with,
you think get after the first of the year?
I think we'll get it this fall,
Okay.
my hope.
All right, just check. I knew we were all expecting it, and these things getting torn down. We got a need.
I'm still
Sure.
expecting it.
All right,
Trust
thank
me.
you. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody here would like to speak on these items that we're about to demolish? 2644 Lower Wetumpka Road, 901 Madison Avenue, 2919 Maryland Drive. Anybody here to represent those properties? I need a motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion on the,
18, resolution declaring, authorizing, and assessing cost of abatement of public nuisances on various lots.
need a motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous, resolution is adopted.
Okay,
And
Madam
council,
Clerk.
I have put before you some contingencies, some that I have Mayor Reed's approval on, and some I don't. The first one I do have is approval for District 1, 500 to the Montgomery Bicycle Club. And Mayor Reed for District 8, 1,000 to Breckenridge Neighborhood Association, 1,000 to Carriage Hills Neighborhood Association, and 1,600 to the Montgomery Humane Society.
Okay, anybody else?
I'm not through.
Okay.
For District 1, $500 to Glassner. It's for the Bicycle Club, the same as the other one. Mayor, you're okay with this one? And I
Okay.
have just added to me, just shortly for District 7, 3,000 to Frank Johnson Institute, 2,000 to Mercy House, and 2,000 from Macoa.
Okay. Anybody else? Going once, going twice?
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
move for approval.
Have a motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Okay. All right, we have
Hey,
several.
Charlie, can I ask the chief a question?
Yeah, yeah.
Chief, can I ask you a question? Where are we at on getting the program for the Star Watch system where we can hook up normal cameras seamlessly?
Good afternoon. Go with the question again.
The Star Watch was going to buy a program that would interface all the cameras like Ring and all those and make it real easy to see them. If we purchased that,
Yeah, we're doing that now. In fact, last week, we launched reintroduction of the Star Watch program. It's really good. It's actually on our website. We kind of let the public know what's available and what's out there. It was launched a little while ago. We wanted to kind of reintroduce it, and we did that just last week. So you can look at it. It's really good and really interactive. It kind of shows you the capabilities of the program.
well, what reason I'm asking that, because I've got some of my neighbors in District 1. When we get it all looked up, I'm going to put them to work and let them work at Atlanta Highway and some of these main districts and sign up as many cameras as we can on that system. Give us more coverage.
And that was the idea of the relaunch, when the mayor and I talked about relaunching it and reintroducing it to the public so that the public knows the capabilities
Okay.
and how they can, be a part of the system.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Chief, one other thing. I know that you've made a commercial, I believe, on the Star Watch program, haven't you?
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
It's on the website. It's on, I believe the city's website. It's on the PD's website as well.
Okay. Good deal. All righty, thank you. Okay, anybody else got anything? I got Avis Lewis here to speak to us. Ms. Lewis?